When the brisk autumn wind rolls in and the nights fill with gloom, we gather to hear stories about the things that will make your blood run cold. Dim the lights, lock your doors, and do not look out your windows. You've now entered the darkness of horror. Welcome to October's Curse. There was a graveyard, forgotten by most, where the earth seemed to swallow time itself. Hidden deep in the woods, it was a place no one dared to visit, not even the bravest of souls. Locals told stories of its cursed grounds, of strange whispers that traveled on the wind, but no one could say for sure if they were true until she came. Megan had always been curious, a seeker of the unknown, and when she heard of the rumors about the hidden graveyard, she couldn't resist. Armed with nothing but a flashlight and a sense of invincibility, she made her way through the thick, gnarly woods that had long swallowed the path to the cemetery. The trees seemed to close in as she ventured deeper, the only sound being the crunch of dry leaves beneath her boots. Finally, after what felt like hours of wandering, she stumbled upon the cemetery. It was an eerie sight. Tombstones crumbling with age, the air heavy with decay. But there was one grave that stood out among the rest. It was old, older than anything around it, and it had a strange feature. On the back of the stone, there was a narrow window. No one could say how the window had come to be there. It wasn't like any tombstone Megan had ever seen before. It wasn't made of the usual gray granite, but of something darker, more unnatural. And the window, it was as if it were alive, gleaming faintly in the dim light of the forest. Intrigued, Megan stepped closer. The window wasn't glass, not exactly. It was more like a smooth, reflective surface, and as she peered into it, she felt an odd sensation, a pull, an invitation. For a moment, she hesitated. Something deep inside her warned her to turn back, but her curiosity overpowered her fear. She pressed her face against the cold stone, eyes fixed on the strange reflection. At first, all she saw was her own face, pale, anxious, staring back at her. But then, as if the window were alive, the image rippled, her reflection blurred, and the darkness behind her began to shift. Suddenly, she was no longer looking into the graveyard, but into something far darker, far more horrifying. A cold, oppressive void stretched out before her, an endless blackness where shadows seemed to writhe and pulse like living things. The air around her grew colder, and a foul, metallic scent filled her nose. And then she saw it. A figure, a silhouette emerged from the darkness. It was humanoid, but twisted, its form shifting and contorting as it moved towards her. Its eyes, dark, empty, soulless, fixed on her through the window, and Megan's breath caught in her throat. The figure grinned, a slow, impossibly wide grin that stretched its face into grotesque proportions. The grin never reached its eyes. The eyes remained hollow, filled only with an endless void. The figure stepped closer, its movements jerky, unnatural. Megan tried to pull away, but she couldn't. The window held her gaze. As the figure drew near, she saw what lay beyond it. A terrible place. A land of suffering and torment, where the very ground seemed to writhe with the dead. She saw souls trapped, their faces twisted in agony, clawing at the earth, their hands reaching towards her through the window. The figure reached out, its long, clawed fingers, brushing the surface of the stone.
"You shouldn't have looked,"
it whispered, its voice like a rasping breath, echoing in her mind.
"Once you see, you can never unsee. You've glimpsed the truth of what lies beyond."
Megan's heart raced, and she tried to pull back, but her feet were rooted to the ground. She couldn't look away, couldn't escape the vision of suffering that danced before her eyes. The window seemed to pulse, and the air around her grew thick, as if the very fabric of reality was bending, folding in on itself. The figure's grin widened, and then, in an instant, everything shifted. The cold darkness of the graveyard swallowed her whole, and Megan found herself lying on the ground, staring up at the same tombstone. But something was wrong. The air was silent, unnaturally silent. She could still feel the pressure in her chest, as if something was pulling at her from the inside. She looked at the tombstone again, her gaze drawn to the window. But this time, the window wasn't empty. Inside it, there was a face. Her own face. But she wasn't smiling.